Alright, 97.7 Outlaw Radio FM listeners, we are live in full effect right here, right now with the one and only. We got Slashmastacid live on the line. How you doing this evening?
I'm doing good, man. How you doing?
I gotta say, first and foremost, man, it's been a long time coming, man. We've been connected on social media here for a long time, man. So it's just an honor to be able to welcome you onto my radio station this evening.
Oh yeah, it's great to be here, man. I was just jamming out earlier, telling out some of the old school hip hop you guys got on the station. I love it, man.
Yeah, I mean, I try and pull out some of the classics, man, where people really sit back and be like, "Shit, I haven't heard this in like a decade." I try and play the stuff that stations don't play anymore.
Yeah. I totally agree, man. I mean, here in Chicago, we got a few good hip hop stations, but a lot of it plays a lot of the current stuff that's going on and stuff.
Yeah, I noticed with a lot of the FM stations nowadays, man, like you can get them to play maybe Tupac, maybe Biggie, but you have to call in and request it. And unfortunately, with those stations, really getting on the request line is like literally pulling tooth and nail almost.
Oh, I imagine. I mean, I never called in, but I mean, back in the day, I used to try to call in on the box when they used to have the box on cable stations here in Chicago, and I think it was not cable stations here in Chicago, and I never got my video played though. But I used to watch a lot of really good videos growing up and stuff.
And I gotta ask as well with that video process back in the day, because I do know down here in Canada we had much music and whatnot. But when you actually try to get your music videos actually played on those on those to the video DJs, like what was the process you had to go through to actually send them your video?
Oh no, I didn't send them anything personal. I would call in to get them to play videos, man.
Oh, okay. My apologies, man. I thought you meant your music videos. That's why I was like, damn, man. Like, because I know back then in the '90s, it must have took a lot of fucking legwork just to actually to even get your own stuff even played on like video shows like that.
Oh yeah. I imagine it would. I mean, I haven't done much professional work like that and stuff like submitting to radio stations or anything like that. But we got a pretty good following that's going on Facebook and online right now.
But man, I want to take you back to the very beginning of your career, man. And I just gotta ask you, how did you get into the music industry initially, man? Like, what's the story behind Slashmasteracid's like illustrious career?
Well, it started out back in high school. I listened to rock and roll music with some people, some heavy metal type music. But I guess you could say it was kind of like a Rage Against the Machine, but without all the politics. It was like a little mix of hip hop, mix of metal. Guys I was playing with, they were Black Sabbath enthusiasts. They loved Black Sabbath, Ozzy. They would listen to like Iron Maiden and all that stuff. And at the time, I was growing up listening to, a lot of Stevie Ray Vaughan, Led Zeppelin, Pink Floyd. I didn't really have much hip hop when I was growing up and stuff. My dad was a musician in the '70s, and I kind of listened to the same stuff that he listened to when I was growing up as a kid. When I got to high school, I did, like I said, I did metal music with these guys for a little bit, but then I just branched off and I started to want to just write my own lyrics and run my own lab. So I got a Fruity Loop program back in, this is like 1998. I got like Fruity Loops 1 or Fruity Loops 2.0, and I just started like messing around at the house, and next thing you know, I just started making tracks. And all the kids would come over from the neighborhood, from the high school and stuff, and I'd have them come by the crib. And I was like one of the only kids that had like a small studio setup. Because, not everyone had computers and stuff back then, but I was fortunate enough to have a computer. There was the family computer, and I kind of like abducted it and brought it to my room and made it my studio and stuff. And that's how I started doing everything. I did graffiti for a while, and I started Got Bud as kind of like an offshoot to the graffiti crew that I was with. Because I wasn't that good at graffiti, but I still wanted to represent. So I decided to go represent on the mic. And we would invade house parties all the time and just set up cipher circles, start rhyming with people, and it was really, really fun shit. I did that for I probably did that for about a good decade, just staying in Chicago, recording at home and stuff like that. And I never really put anything out like national or nothing like that. It was all here in Chicago.
And when you actually mentioned Got Bud Records, man, that was actually my next question on the list. And I noticed as well that you actually started that up back in 1998. But I was wondering, like, who is currently signed to you today? Like, what does Got Bud Records have in store for this day and age, like in 2021?
Well, Got Bud Records, we have a couple artists over here. We tapped into a lot of the horrorcore community. they really liked a lot of the music that we been putting out, and I brought in some artists from that kind of genre. I'm kind of a jack of all trades when it comes to hip hop. Like I like to be eclectic. Like I have the album SID The Slasher that I'm working on. It was a previous album I did, but a lot of my old stuff, I'm using like my back catalog to come out with new stuff now. And because like I said, I never released nationally before. So now we're bringing all of these guys in. We have Got Blood Records Canada, which is led by my homie Double T. What up, Double T? I know he's probably listening tonight out there in Canada. He's out in Montreal. Him, and he brought in another guy named Lenny, and Len Dog. And we started working, and we even made a connection with a homie named Arctic, who lives out in the UK. He's in Scotland. And we kind of just are a band of MCs and producers that banded together to follow this one banner. Over here in Chicago, we got me, and then I got my guy Mr. Conflict out west, and Jay Dirty and Heckles, they're in the Midwest. They're in Indiana and Iowa. And I kind of I had nobody around here in Chicago that was really working with me and stuff for a while. And my health took a bad turn, and I kind of stepped away from hip-hop for a while. But I still stayed in, making it and stuff like that. Like, hip-hop saved my life. I got rheumatoid arthritis, and I got diagnosed with it at, 27, 28, and, it stopped my confidence and stuff. But about 3 years ago, everything kind of just went away, in a way. I mean, I still feel aches and pains, but, the majority of, the crippling, limping and all of that stuff, it all went away. And that's when I pressed the reset button on Got Blood and brought in Got Blood Canada and all of these new people into our stuff. Double T's got tons of albums out. You can Google him, and he's got lots of music. The guy is very, very busy with music. Definitely one of my best partners that I have with the team here.
Because obviously, as you said, you got Bud out here in Canada, man. Do you ever think about going outside of North America and maybe making Got Bud international, like a Got Bud UK?
Oh, I would love to. I mean, hip hop's universal, man. I love seeing people in different countries rock out the hip hop. I have a friend who lives in France. I think it's the place called Gracie, France. I think that's what it's called. And his name's Daka Gob, and he's a real cool producer. And he took a liking to my music, and I got my beats from France. And I would talk hip-hop with this guy, and his English is a little off, but he still talks to me pretty good on Facebook. And, he listens to all the same stuff I listen to. He listens to Wu-Tang, he listens to The Lox, you know what I'm saying? I'm like, hey, he listens to Chino XL, Royce 5'9". So it was pretty cool seeing, all these different people from all over the world and knowing that we're all in it together, you know what I'm saying?
And also as well, man, on April 20th, 2013, you actually dropped the project, The Secret Society of Funk. I was wondering if you can tell our listeners a story behind that phenomenal project, and of course, is it still circulating the internet to be purchased or streamed today?
It's actually streamed on our SoundCloud. That was the second album. There's 5 albums altogether, and that was all the stuff that you can say was made from 2007 to about 2013. That's all the recorded stuff that was made there. Those 2 albums, The Chemical Agent and Secret Society of Funk, it's kind of like a double album that got released on the same day. And that was the second half of it. That was more the funk side of it. But you can find it on Got Blood Records on SoundCloud. We have some of it up on YouTube as well, but the whole entire album is on SoundCloud right now.
Hey, most definitely. I gotta say, there's some really amazing music out there on SoundCloud, man. You know what I mean? I was even listening to a lot of your old school stuff just on SoundCloud as well, man. I gotta say, you know what I mean? You most definitely deserve much more credit than what you're already getting, man. You're a super talented individual.
Thank you. I appreciate it, man. It's hard work, but at the same time, it's fun and it's a therapy in a way, A lot of people have anger and they have all these other issues and they have different outlets. And, well, I guess life's all about finding your outlet, and hip-hop is my outlet. Like, being able to project emotion and feelings and, different mindsets onto a microphone, put the music behind it like it's a soundtrack of a film. It's a great thing, man. And it's definitely cut me out of a lot of trouble. I could say that.
And also as well, man, I noticed that you actually did a lot of great work with an individual by the name of Blizzard MC Dab, man. I was wondering, how did yourself and Blizzard get connected? And of course, man, do you guys have any new projects currently in the works?
Blizzard MC Dab is an awesome MC that I met through the world of Juggalos. I am a big Juggalo. I've been a fan of Insane Clown Posse, Twisted, that whole horrorcore scene. I've been a fan of it ever since '98. That's one of the influences that kicked me into hip-hop, was hearing the Great Malenko. And, I mean, at the same time, I was listening to Wu-Tang, and it's just, I wanted to be me. I didn't want to be anything else, so that's why I kind of just stayed, with like a, regular hip-hop boom-bap style and stuff. But I had him through the Juggalo world, and he's a real cool guy. He listened to some of my music, and me and him, we did a couple of tracks together. I'm hoping to do some more work with him. We've actually been talking about getting him on my next album and shit, which I'm hoping to drop in the fall. It's called The Great American Autopsy, and it's going to feature a lot of good producers on it. And I'm hoping to have some good features, too. I got everybody from Got Bud Canada. They're probably going to be on there, too. So can't wait. There's a lot of projects in the pipeline right now. I have a project called Hip Hope that's actually going to DistroKid probably tonight or tomorrow. Should be available on all platforms next week. And it's a good collection of a bunch of smoking tracks from 2007 to 2018. Like I said, I got a back catalog of shit that I've never released. So I'm just starting to put it out on all the major platforms. But you can hear everything on SoundCloud. All 5 projects are on there. Both mixtapes, the Abyss Volume 1, the Abyss Volume 2. Mr. Conflict's album is on there, too. And you can also hear Double T. He's got one of his projects on there, the Moonrath mixtape. There's a lot of good music on SoundCloud. Our SoundCloud is almost at capacity. I can't even add anymore unless I pay them for the unlimited shit.
And also on October 26th of 2019, your track SID The Slash was actually on Halloween Volume 10, hosted by Turk the Terrible. I was wondering, man, can you tell our listeners a bit more about that? And of course, man, how does it feel to have your music actually on that compilation, Volume 10?
It was great. I mean, for a while, like I said, I didn't promote music for a while, and it was those, the last 3 years have been a big, been a big step for me. And one of those steps, like I said, I wanted to get into the Juggalo world of music and stuff like that. I love the culture. I've been part of the culture for a while, but I never really promoted my music to anyone. So I chose to promote music to them, boom bap heads, all types of, different styles of hip hop. And they had a homie that contacted me when they heard the song, and I just submitted it through an email. And next thing you know, they sent me a copy back, and they're like, here you go, you're on the album. And I was like, whoa. That was the first mixtape that I ever was part of. And it was pretty cool, being on there. A lot of really good MCs were on there and stuff like that. Deviant Horror was on there. They're an awesome horrorcore group. You should check them out. There's a lot of cool, rappers, and I like horrorcore music, and I like hip-hop. And so my music is kind of a little bit of a fusion of both. And I like seeing both worlds, It's good. It's like watching hip-hop through different perspectives.
And I gotta say as well, that was a phenomenal record as well, because I went back and actually listened to it. I gotta say, the collection is absolutely phenomenal.
Oh yeah, it's sick. Oh, it's sick, man. I was loving it, man. Listening to it and stuff. I got contact. I think I submitted my shit to a guy named Willie E. Hayes, and he put it on there for me. So thanks, bro. You put me on my first mixtape. That was awesome and shit. He's a real cool MC. You should Google him. Real cool guy.
And also as well, man, in 2020, you were actually featured on the single Playa Hatin' Pimps by Body Bag the Zipper. I was wondering, how did yourself and Body Bag get connected? And of course, where can our listeners actually buy or stream themselves a copy of that single?
Body Bag had that on one of his mixtapes, I believe. I met Body Bag through the Juggalo world. And he was another MC that liked to do like smoking tracks and stuff. And he did something that was kind of like some horrorcore shit, and I liked it. I mean, he's a phenomenal rapper. Dude is fast as hell. If you listen to some of his other stuff, dude can twist with the best of them. And yeah, he asked me if I wanted to be on it because I guess he heard some of this music that I did, and next thing you know, we put out the track, and I put it on our mixtape too. We actually have it on the Abyss. You can find it on our SoundCloud, or you can also find it on Spotify. Body Bag to Zipper. Actually, he tagged me in it, so Slashmastacid too.
And I gotta say as well, man, that's another phenomenal collaboration. I gotta say, you two, yourself and Zipperman, really had phenomenal chemistry just within that song.
Oh yeah, he's awesome. I got some other stuff that's coming from the pipeline with him in the future. Definitely gonna be working with him again.
And also, man, you recently dropped the album No Gods, No Masters, man. I was wondering, what's the story behind that phenomenal record? And of course, where can our listeners actually snag themselves some copies today?
They can get No Gods, No Masters on iTunes, get it on Spotify, you can get it on YouTube. It's everywhere. It's on all streaming platforms. The first album that I submitted to DistroKid. And No Gods, No Masters was a return album. You know how, like, I told you that I had, RA for so long and, like, I didn't really release anything. That was my comeback album. And I went out and got some good producers. I got Nairo the Madman to produce a bunch of tracks on it. He's an awesome MC and an awesome producer. I had Dr. Gob on there. I think I even had Risk Beats on there, too. And it's a solo album. There's no MC featured guests on it. And the story behind it is, when I came back, I really didn't want to take sides with any side of hip-hop or with anybody. I was just by myself. And I know you're a gamer just like me and shit. I named it after an achievement in Fallout New Vegas. And if you know what I'm talking about, you know what I'm talking about. But it's basically me against the world.
I'm going to be honest, man, I haven't really got into Fallout. I stopped playing Fallout at, like, Fallout 3, man. I don't know, I played Fallout 4, man. I got my ass kicked in, like, the first 2 missions, and I'm, like, fucking I'm out. I have, like, a really fucked up attention span, man, so if I start dying a lot, it's, like, either turn it off or the controller's going out the window, so...
But yeah, I mean, it meant that, and it also meant that I got to break free of all the bullshit that was holding me back in life. And, the sky's the limit. There's no gods, no masters. Nothing can stop me. And that's, the kind of the theme that I have behind, coming back to it. And yeah, man, I'm ready to jump into the 6th project, which is Great American Autopsy. I'm so pumped to write it. And I can't wait for you guys to hear it. It'll be out in the fall, hopefully.
And also as well, man, I'm actually going to be playing one of your new joints off this record as well, coming up next right after this interview, man, and it's called They Want a War. I was wondering if you could tell our listeners behind the story behind this phenomenal song, man, because just those 3 words in the name of the song, man, is so powerful, man. Well, what's the story behind They Want a War? That way our listeners can wrap their head around the meaning just a little bit more when they actually listen to the joint.
I actually entered a contest for a producer and shit. And he had, I think he had a whole bunch of MCs that squared off on one song, and it was kind of like a tournament, kind of like they picked the top 2 guys from the song, and he picked me, and he picked another MC, and that was a different song. So then he gave me the beat for They Want a War, and I wrote a track because I listened to the guy that I was going up against, and he was a tongue twister. So I kind of was like, I gotta kind of come with the speed too. So I wrote They Want a War because, I mean, it's a competition, that I was in. So that's why I wrote the track about, going to war, going competition against them. And yeah, man, it was cool as hell.
And I gotta say, ladies and gentlemen, right after this interview, that is actually going to be coming up. So stick around, man, and most definitely, if you like what you hear, make sure you go out and get the record, because if you don't get it, you most definitely are going to regret it.
Hell yeah, man.
But I gotta ask you, man, other than you promoting this brand new record that came out this year in 2021, I gotta ask, man, what is next for Slashmastacid, man? Because I do know, you're a phenomenal Chi-Town, hip-hop MC, man. So I do know that you actually have a lot of tricks up your sleeve, man. So what is in store for yourself this year?
Well, we have hip-hop coming out in like a week on all platforms. And then we are bringing back the album SID The Slasher as a nod to the horrorcore community, because I like a lot of the work that they do, and, I kind of like to dabble in that style. And then in the fall, I'm having a small EP. It's kind of like a prelude to the main album. It's called The Pen and the Sword. Got some really cool beats. Bert Baccarat's going to be producing on it. Fucking Salt and Mirror's going to be producing on it. So, look out for that one. And then the big boy, the big album that my granddaddy my big boy that I have, which is the Great American Autopsy, and that'll be out in the fall. And that's going to feature a ton of producers, and it's going to feature a ton of MCs, and it's going to be hot.
And also, this is the time in the interview there, Slash, that I give a chance for the individual that slides into the radio station airwaves, just a chance to give shoutouts to whomever they want to give shoutouts to, but most of all, man, your social media handles. That way our listeners can follow you and stay updated, everything Slashmastacid if they're not already doing so.
Well, they can type me into Google. You go to Slashmastacid on Google, and yeah, just Google me, and all of my shit will pop up for Spotify, iTunes, you name it, we're on it. And you can also find me at JMC on Facebook and JMC/Mastacid. I don't have a Twitter or nothing like that, and I don't have Instagram, but I can also be contacted through SoundCloud and YouTube. And /Mastacid on YouTube, Got Bud Recordz on SoundCloud. And yeah, man, we're out there. You just got to come find us.
And I got to say, Slash, thank you so much, man, for just taking the time out of your busy evening and coming on 97.7 Outlaw Radio FM, man. It was an honor and most definitely a privilege, brother, and I'm looking forward to these new projects when they do drop to the general public this year.
Oh, thank you, bro. It was great being here, man. I'm a big-time fan of the show, man, of the radio station. This is awesome, bro. Thank you. I appreciate it.
Hey, man, you are most certainly welcome, man. You're always welcome back anytime, man. And we got to get into some games here soon, man, as well. So next time I'm free, I'm going to hit you up. You'll probably kick my ass, but it is what it is.
Sounds good, man. I'll get up with you, bro.
Hey, most definitely, brother. We'll talk soon. Have yourself a wonderful night.
All right, and you too, man.